Okay, so let me ask you something. Have you ever ordered food delivery? Or maybe used a ride-sharing app? If you have, then you've already stepped right into the world of what's called click labor. And it's this massive and, massively controversial part of our modern economy.
And this whole world, it really brings up a huge question, right? Is this gig work a genuine engine of freedom and opportunity, giving people real control over their work and their lives? Or is it actually a dead-end trap, one that creates this endless cycle of low-skill, low-pay work? That's the exact tension we're going to unpack.
So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the rise of click work itself. Then we'll get into its undeniable appeal, why so many people do it. After that, we'll tackle this common laziness critique you hear all the time. From there, we're going to zoom out and look at the system, not the person. And finally, we'll try to answer that big question. Is it a trap or is it a stepping stone?
All right, first things first. Let's get on the same page about what click work even means. Because, honestly, it's a term that goes way beyond just, driving for an app.
Essentially, what's happened is that technology has given companies the power to take a traditional, long-term job and just slice it up into these tiny individual tasks. This could be a single food delivery or a super short data entry project or pretty much any on-demand service you can think of. The key thing to remember is that the work is broken apart, it's all managed by a platform, and there's no long-term commitment needed.
Okay, so what is it about this model that's just so popular? I mean, to really get a handle on the dilemma, we have to start by appreciating just how appealing it really is.
And the appeal is it's undeniable. I mean, think about it. With just a smartphone, you can literally start earning money today. You can work whenever you want, for as long as you want. That's an incredible amount of freedom, right? For students, for parents, for anyone who's juggling a million different things, it can be a total game changer. And for millions of people around the world, this isn't just some nice-to-have convenience. It's an actual economic lifeline.
But, of course, there's another side to this story. There's this persistent criticism that argues all this convenience comes at a pretty steep hidden cost. And not just for the worker, but maybe for society as a whole.
So the argument basically goes like this. When you have a system that rewards quick, simple, and often really repetitive tasks, it kind of conditions people to go for those immediate, small rewards instead of focusing on long-term skill development. The worry is that it can erode the discipline and perseverance you need for more complex careers. It might even weaken that internal drive, the one that makes you want to truly master a craft.
And this chart here, it really lays out the key differences perfectly. You've got traditional work on one side, which often gives you structure, a chance to learn new skills, and some kind of career path. But click labor, it's a completely different game. It's all about jumping from one sporadic task to another, constantly chasing that next micropayment.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial turning point here. What if focusing on the worker's supposed laziness or their lack of motivation is just looking at the problem from the completely wrong angle?
This right here, this is the core idea we really need to grapple with. The problem isn't the player, it's the game. So instead of asking, what's wrong with this person, we need to start asking, what's wrong with the system they're stuck in? I mean, aren't their actions just a totally logical response to the rules they've been given? So the big takeaway is this. We're not talking about personal failings. We're talking about a completely rational response to a system that's been designed from the ground up to shape behavior in a very, very specific way.
So what exactly does that system reward? Well, it's overwhelmingly about two things: speed and volume. The more clicks, the more tasks, the faster you do them, the more you earn. End of story. There's almost zero incentive for creativity or for deep thinking or for, sticking with a tough challenge. The system just doesn't care about that stuff.
And what this does is it creates this really powerful and kind of vicious feedback loop. So step 1, the work is broken down into tiny pieces. Step 2, the system rewards you for doing those pieces fast. Step 3, the worker logically optimizes for speed, not for skill. And the result? Expertise and motivation can totally flatline over time. And again, it's not because the worker is lazy, it's because the system is designed to produce exactly this outcome.
Okay, so with all that in mind, let's reframe this entire debate. There's one final, absolutely crucial piece of context we need to add.
And it's this. We have to remember that for a huge number of people, especially in economies where good, stable jobs are scarce, click work isn't some casual choice between a fun, flexible gig and a great career. No, it's a choice between some income and no income. It is, plain and simple, a survival strategy.
So if you think about it that way, maybe the problem isn't even the existence of gig work itself. The real fundamental issue is the lack of a bridge. There's no on-ramp, no clear pathway that leads from these simple, entry-level microtasks to something more, to more complex work, to meaningful skill development, to an actual long-term career.
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. What we might look at and call laziness is often just a symptom of a system that offers no real path forward. It's not an individual flaw, it's a systemic problem that, by its very design, leaves people behind. Which leaves us with one final, and I think most important, question. This technology, it's here to stay. This kind of work isn't just going to disappear. So the question for all of us is, how do we redesign these systems? How do we stop building digital treadmills that just keep people running in place and start building genuine career ladders that offer a real path upward?